We're recording. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Okay, what is this podcast called again?
2001, a space
Podcast. We got it though. It's a podcast. You gotta remember. Okay. So we are here.
We're rolling with this one?
Yeah, we're rolling with
This
this
is the
one.
take.
This is the take. Okay. My name is Miguel Garcia. I am a grade 12 Isfeld student. I got a chem test tomorrow, and I'm cooked in that, but whatever. We're not talking about that. Yeah, but anyways, our focus here is physics.
Whoa. Introduce
And
me.
we will be discussing physics with our co-host,
John Loewen. I just recently graduated, and I'm going into study physics at university next year. So.
and I'm taking a gap year because I need a break from school, but we're going to get back to there. I'll be a year behind them, but so what? All right. So we are going to discuss how space exploration, benefits the human race. So that's our discussion here. John, what do you think about this topic?
It's kind of hard to know where to start, honestly, but that it's such a broad conversation, obviously. But
Right.
Space exploration in general, I think, could be very beneficial, in terms of uncovering new resources, and gaining access to that, in terms of potentially setting up new colonies, helping further the human race. And I think there's something intrinsic about it too, where it's there's sort of this human impulse or desire towards curiosity and exploration, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the idea of expanding throughout the cosmos, of colonizing new planets, of making new discoveries, of venturing into deep space, I think that plays into this this very human ideal towards conquest and discovery and furthering our goals, furthering our species.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think space exploration is pretty much necessary to save the human species from early extinction, right? Because think about asteroids, comets. If we didn't have those operations in space to intercept harmful objects that could destroy our planet, we would likely not be here right now. And according to NASA, as I got in the screen right here, the main benefits of space exploration are innovation, culture and inspiration, new means to address global challenges. So it lays out that space exploration has its purposes to inspire and explore life's biggest questions. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, there's certainly an argument, as you mentioned, that space exploration is somewhat necessary at this point, for human survival and for the continuation of our species. At some point, whether that's in the near future or billions of years down the line, Earth is going to be either no longer habitable or at least not the ideal place for mankind to have settled, right? So at some point we are going to need to branch off and explore and colonize to some extent. And it remains unknown how far we'll actually need to go, how far we actually will get, and whether that's an existential threat right now or whether that's something that might take a few thousand years to reach that level, or how soon we're actually going to need to take that step. But there is the argument that it's going to be somewhat forced upon our species, that we have to move and leave Earth at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think what we need to focus on as a society, as someone who leans more left on the political spectrum, I think we need to focus space exploration more on exploration and wonder and protecting the human species versus profits. And I feel once we do that, we can start exploring more and more things with the help.
Yeah,
NASA.
I think it's important to acknowledge that in a lot of ways, profit could be an important driving factor towards that, though.
That is true.
Even if it's, I agree with you that there's almost this beauty in it being this human desire for exploration and discovery and seeking truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, as nice as that thought is, a lot of the time, this comes down to external motivations, like companies chasing profits, like countries in take the Cold War even, for instance, that really drove the whole space race and the journey to reach the moon. Like that was inarguably a direct cause of the Cold War and the heightened tensions between the US and the USSR at the time. Like, yes, science was capable of making those steps anyway, but it wouldn't have done so without that political motivation.
Yeah, no, that's true. However, I think personally, I think this main goal of space exploration should be to protect the people. Because a lot of people, when they think of space exploration, they think, oh, that doesn't matter. Why are we going up into space when we have issues here on the ground?
Yeah.
But we need to explain to them why why we need space exploration. For example, like, as I've written right here, long-term survival, like Earth will become unlivable for humanity in about 1.3 billion years. I mean, that's a lot. That's
right.
We need
a long ways down the line, and we've got a lot of immediate challenges before then. But it is something to think about.
It's important because we don't want to go extinct.
Term.
We don't want to go extinct in a billion years. We want to live long, because think about it. The Earth is what, 13.8 billion years? Oh no, sorry, no. That's the universe. That's the universe. My bad. So the universe 13.8 billion years old, and the Earth is like 4 billion years old. Let's say. Do we want to be like such a small fraction of what the Earth is? We should try and live as long as possible, right?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That you're coming at this issue from the perspective of continuing the human race's existence for as long as possible being like the goal of humanity, to just continue and to prosper.
Yes.
For its own necessary good. Like, the good of human expansion is only a good insofar as it promotes our survival and allows us to continue existing, right?
Yes.
But I would wonder if there's something more to it, to the idea of becoming like an interplanetary species, to reaching out into deep space, if we ever had the technology to make that possible, if it would ever become more than about just our survival, but about this drive towards exploration and truth and knowledge that sort of goes beyond the pragmatic issues of human survival.
Right. You know, I agree. I think exploration can be used as kind of like an inspiration for students, because like I've got a study right here. It shows. Let me pull it up right now. It shows that more students that are into STEM fields are more interested in STEM if they are into space programs. Right. So there was the study that they did on the Apollo space program, which is NASA. And what they did was, let me pull this up. They said that a study shows that there was a spike in the number of PhDs in STEM fields after students joined the Apollo Moon Exploration Program. More than 2 million teachers and 43 million students from 49 countries had participated in ISS activities. So this shows that space exploration is inherently beneficial for students as well, because it shows that space is just very interesting. Like, who doesn't love space? Who hasn't watched like Interstellar and been like, wow, this is really cool? Right. Like, what's more interesting, space exploration or learning how to build a bridge? Yeah, right? I mean, they both serve their purpose, but it's like, what is going to get more students into the STEM field?
That's definitely something to consider. I think that study shows that when you have something like the Apollo missions or the ISS at the forefront of cultural knowledge and just everyone's attention, there's just going to be more people by default drawn to that because they're more aware of it and they're more likely to take after it and think that it's interesting. Versus if you have a very limited space program and you don't have as much resources going towards that, it's not as big a thing at the time, there's just going to be less interest by default because not as many people know that it's there in the first place, right?
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's a very important point to make. I also think that without space exploration, think about our pop culture, right? Think about what gets people moving.
Yeah, yeah.
Like again, like I said, already mentioned it, Interstellar.
You mentioned Interstellar, 2001: A Space Odyssey,
which is the name
right?
of the podcast, right? But
yeah.
we replaced Odyssey with podcast. Yeah, no, exactly. Like seriously, it's like there's something about space that
Star Wars.
Yeah. There you go. Even though
Star Trek, it's
Star
it's
Trek,
like,
yeah.
These ideas are very captivating on the human psyche for sure.
Yeah,
right.
There's just something about them, right? Even though Star Wars is completely scientifically inaccurate, like the way the lasers move, bro, they're so slow.
Exactly.
Like,
but that's not always the point, right? It's like it's about getting people interested in that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And opening these ideas up to the public consciousness.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think through that we can definitely move towards getting more people interested in space exploration.
Yeah.
And I want to make another point. Aliens. How do we feel about aliens?
How do we feel about aliens? Do they exist? Do they not exist? I mean, what do you think?
We can dive into the theories here. Okay, so first of all, I've got the Fermi paradox right here. A theory developed by Italian physicist Enrico Fermi is the main basis for approaching extraterrestrial life. And in its thesis, due to the age of the universe, how come extraterrestrial life has not been discovered by humans? So that's the main question. It's like, why haven't we seen them? Due to the age of the universe and due to the way the universe works and the high levels of disorder as cosmic inflation happened and as the universe aged and expanded and cooled down, how come we have not seen any signs of alien life?
Right. Yeah, I think the Fermi paradox is really interesting to me because it's not really a paradox in the traditional logical or philosophical sense. It's more this probabilistic question of like the odds are so overwhelming that there should be some other form of intelligent life out there with, as you mentioned, the universe having been around for like 14 billion years now. And even within our fairly local part of the universe or the galaxy that we're in, there's so many planets that appear to be habitable. So why have we not seen any evidence of any intelligent life at all? Right?
Yeah, it's quite mind-blowing. And to answer that question, I mean, we could there are four main areas we could start.
Yeah.
Number one, could it be due to physical limitations to space travel?
That's possible. That there's just these hard limits on what technology can actually achieve that are just not possible to overcome, right? Like say that space travel, just in terms of speed, doesn't actually get that much more efficient or that much more energy efficient than we have it right now. So it's just not viable for any societies that already exist and are already maybe like have colonized their own solar systems to ever venture beyond that, because there's no merit to it. There's no upside. It costs way too much in terms of energy. It would take way too long. It's just not a viable solution. And so that could potentially explain why we don't see any evidence of alien technology or any response to the signals we've been sending out. Because if the technology just doesn't exist, of course we're not going to see it, right? So there might be a hard limit to what we can actually achieve.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think we also have to take into effect, time dilation, right? It's like,
of course.
Because time is different as gravity is different, right? The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time and vice versa. So if you travel at the speed of light, or 99.99999% speed of light, away from Earth, and you, for how many seconds, like, we'll say, for like an hour or something, let's say.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many seconds that is, but an hour. An hour will pass on another planet. How much time would pass on Earth in that time, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that's the question.
So that's actually, I actually haven't thought of that, but that's an interesting point where if there isn't actually any form of, say, like wormhole or warping the fabric of space-time to travel, like if we just have to rely on brute speed, even if you can get up to nearing the speed of light, as ridiculously inefficient that's going to be energy-wise, even if you somehow can manage that, you have to remember that the rest of the universe is going to be moving so much quicker through time than you are, that even if there was some society that was sending a ship down to Earth at like light speed, it would get here likely billions of years down the line, at least. And that would explain why even if they had launched it like 3 billion years ago, which all things considered is still fairly unlikely, since it's going to take a long time for life to evolve up to that point, for societies to develop, for societies to unite, and for that technology to be achieved all so relatively close to here in the first place. But then for the ship to actually reach us, that's a whole nother matter of just how long that's going to take because of time dilation, right?
Right, and yeah, so then when they return to their planet, no one will remember them.
Yeah.
Because so much time will pass.
Yeah.
So it's really, I don't think that's why we are going to completely rule out, well, not completely, the laws of physics don't prevent it, but I think intergalactic space travel, it's impossible.
I think it likely is. I mean, we were already talking about the hard limits to technology that might exist, and that's one of them. Like you can
we're restricting ourselves
just
in
purely in terms of energy. It would be nearly impossible to reach that kind of speed, and even if you were going light speed, it would be so slow on an intergalactic scale. And even if it weren't, there's still the matter of how much time is passing due to relative time dilation, that it really doesn't seem to me that extraterrestrial societies would be willing to invest in this kind of technology and be willing to use it.
Yeah, and that could arguably be the number one reason why we don't see aliens.
It could be.
It could be. So speaking of that, we will move on to the second reason here. Sociological reasons for not contacting Earth. What do you think of this?
Okay. Can you expand on that? I'm not quite sure if I've heard this response to the paradox before.
This is one of the four themes of the paradox. It shows that maybe aliens do not want to engage with humans due to possible conflicts that could happen, or they don't want to risk their society being tracked.
Right. Yeah, that the idea that like societies would just be hesitant to contact each other, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the other civilization is capable of yet, and it's until you do, they're somewhat of a threat, right? So you just, it's always going to be safer to just avoid that contact in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying they're deliberately avoiding us because they don't want to have conflict with us, because that wouldn't be good, right? They would possibly be destroyed.
Yeah.
Or that could destroy us too.
Yeah,
right?
and it could be, you could use that argument to say it's a mistake to do what we're doing right now, which is sending out signals in search of aliens, extraterrestrial societies. Maybe that's a very bad idea, because it's possible historically that as soon as societies like that emerge, trying to call out and contact other civilizations, they very quickly get eliminated by a larger, more powerful society, right? Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, we know from humanity with colonization and imperialism, exploration, like expansionism.
Yeah.
We know that living beings especially intelligent living beings, tend to want to colonize places. So, although there may be sociological reasons for the fact they do not want to contact Earth, there also could be reasons why they would want to attack Earth or conquer Earth.
That is true. Although I'd like to point to a counterexample, just to play devil's advocate for a moment. There's I forget the name of it, but there's an island in like the Indian Ocean where the people there are still incredibly primitive. It's like a tribal nation. It's fairly small. And what we've done as a larger society is just rather than contacting and trying to engage with the people on the island, we've sort of monitored them from afar and watched as they progress and just really not interfered as much as we can help it with the course of action there. And so, like, a few rogue people have gone and tried to swim or sail over to the island. Most of them have died. But by and large, human civilization has not contacted the people here and allowed them to just develop independently, almost like this micro exhibit of a smaller scale, more primitive society that exists on Earth. And I really wish I could remember the name of this specific example. But I've thought, or at least it's an interesting thought experiment to consider, like, what if that's like us? What if Earth is this like small microcosm of a larger alien society where we're just so relatively primitive to them that they don't even care about the resources here or about colonizing us because we're just so insignificant it wouldn't even be worth it. So they're just allowing us to develop independently and monitoring us from afar, right?
Yeah, well, due to the amount of time that the universe has been around, 13.8 billion years, we are a decimal point. We are not even a decimal point. We are what we call in physics negligible.
Yeah.
We, like, if you ever take chemistry or
purely
physics,
in terms of time, yes.
Yeah, yes. We are negligible. We are practically zero. So that could explain why they do not bother with us. They could not bother with us either due to either due to wanting to not contact with us or wanting to contact with us, right? Or maybe they don't want to visit Earth because they're afraid of us, right? But that's unlikely because we'd be so far ahead of them if they'd be actually able to reach Earth.
Yeah, so, I find it unlikely that there are societies that don't contact us. Like, they know that we exist, but they're afraid of contacting us because of our technological advantage. Yeah. Just because we're so relatively new to the space race and interplanetary exploration. Like, you already mentioned that we are practically negligible on the universal time scale. And even within the human time scale, the period of time that we've actually been capable of space travel is even more infinitesimal than that.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I find it highly unlikely that the reason aliens don't bother with us is because they're afraid of what we're capable of. I think it's much more likely that their technology is so far beyond what we can even comprehend that they just don't feel the need to engage with us at all. We're like... Yeah,
and that's a fantastic point. That's what I was making,
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, exactly. So we're saying that basically our conclusion for this is that it's very unlikely that they are trying to avoid us because they're afraid of us, but they're more likely trying to avoid us because we're insignificant. That's what we're saying. And speaking of alien life, if anyone does not believe in aliens, we can disprove you. This is the Drake equation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can go into it. So it's the number of active communicant extraterrestrial civilizations is equal to the average rate of star formation times the friction of planets times the average fraction. Sorry. Times the average number of
number of those planets that can support life.
Exactly. Yeah. Fraction that developed life at some point, fraction that developed intelligent life, fraction releasing detectable signs into space, and length of time releasing detectable signals. So that was developed by Frank Drake. He's a physicist, and this mathematically proves that probability-wise there should be aliens.
Yeah. Well, it's almost certain within you don't even like. Yes, it's helpful to see and visualize the equation to prove it, but even just thinking about the scale of the universe, the scale of everything that's out there that we can't possibly see, it's very difficult to imagine that there wouldn't be an alien civilization somewhere out there.
Yeah, well, it's possible.
I think the only argument that you typically hear people use to refute that, to say that there probably aren't any aliens, is to invoke the theistic argument that we are very special in the case of the universe, coming from God. And I don't know what your opinion on God is.
I'm
personally an atheist on the matter.
I'm a Buddhist, so I don't believe in a God. But
Okay.
I believe in I believe in karma and reincarnation.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is this idea among certain groups of theists that we are created in the image and the likeness of God. We are special in the case of the universe, and there can't be life out there anywhere else, because it would refute that idea that we are made special and unique.
Yeah, so if you are explicitly religious and if you are explicitly theistic, it doesn't make sense that you would ever agree with any of the theories about aliens.
Yeah.
You would always disregard them.
And of course, unfortunately, we don't actually have the contact with aliens on hand right now to disprove that, even though it's so likely that they do exist. And it's so probabilistically obvious that aliens must exist. There still is technically that argument from unique design and an intelligent creator that we could be the only intelligent life forms. And you technically can't disprove that yet.
And we do not know if the universe is infinite. But if it is infinite, that absolutely guarantees there to be infinite societies.
Well, that's true.
Life.
On the scale of infinity, everything that can possibly happen will happen. Murphy's Law. Yeah.
Exactly. It's Murphy's Law, and that is basically what we are going with. So that is the second pillar, I should say, of the Fermi paradox. Let's move on to the third one. Temporal constraints on travel. What do you think about this? I think we already briefly covered this a little bit.
I think we talked about travel,
time dilation,
a little
technology,
bit earlier.
energy.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming this is a similar idea.
It's a very similar idea. However, we can touch on what if aliens already visited Earth and humans and we don't know about it.
The ancient aliens kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The ancient aliens, like before we had the technology to see them.
So this is where you get into the sort of conspiracy theory side of it. Like, what if the pyramids were actually made by aliens?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What if the comet that killed the dinosaurs was sent here by aliens? Like,
who knows? What if humanity started as like an experiment from some advanced alien civilization, right?
Or what if we're in a simulation?
Yeah, the simulation hypothesis. That was interesting.
It's very interesting. I watched The Matrix pretty recently, and that's basically what it is, right?
I think the most compelling argument for the simulation theory that I've heard is the idea that all civilizations go on to create technology sufficient that they can simulate civilizations, right? Within like some form of computing, right?
Right.
And if that is possible, if we take that to be true, then it follows that any civilizations within those simulations can go on to produce that same technology at some point, and then make their own civilizations, simulated civilizations. And so you get degrees of this going down all the way as civilizations continue to simulate and create new civilizations. And so the argument essentially goes, which is more likely? That we are the first fundamental civilization, or that we are one of the potentially infinite civilizations that exists in a simulated reality?
The second one seems more likely.
And it's very compelling, especially at face value, but I think the core premise here that all civilizations go on to create technology that can simulate other civilizations, it also implies that you can simulate consciousness to that same degree. And I'm not sure if that's something that will ever be technologically feasible.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Argument against it.
Yeah, no, I think these things are very important. And I think aliens, they might be more of a, I guess, theoretical or pop culture thing, but I think they're a very serious discussion we should probably be having, and we are right now, which is very good. And to close it, I would like to say, with the aliens, before we move on to the next topic, I would like to say we are either alone in the universe or we are not, and both are equally terrifying.
That's... Who said that? That's a quote.
I gotta look it up.
Oh no! Were you trying to claim it for yourself?
Both. I'm not trying to claim it for myself. I'm not that intellectually competent. It was said by Arthur C. Clarke.
Arthur C. Clarke. Look him up, guys.
Who is Arthur C. Clarke? I should know this because I'm doing a podcast.
Or we're gonna do it for you.
We're gonna do it for you. He was a English science fiction writer, futurist, inventor,
Okay.
undersea explorer, and television series host. He was born in
What do you know?
in 1917, died in 2008. So I've never heard of him. That's probably not very good, but hey, we're learning. We are learning too. We are not experts. Just to let
In case it wasn't immediately obvious.
yeah, exactly. From the
yes.
intro. Yeah. We were naming it after a movie, but it is what it is. We're trying our best. This is our first episode. Okay. Hopefully first of many, but we'll see.